Hi everybody, welcome to Choice of the Vampire. I just downloaded this game now. First of all, welcome back to the channel. Mostly to myself. It's been quite a while. I always say I'm gonna try to keep up with posting videos and whatnot, but I always, life happens, right? But this is something that I want to genuinely try to get back into. I've been missing it. It's always been a lot of fun for me. So we're gonna try to start this off again. I've read that this is a quite a short story, so we'll see if we can actually get through one of these for once. So again, this is Choice of the Vampire by Jason Stephen Hill, and let's get started. First, we'll look at some of the achievements here. Actually, no, let's not because it does spoil a bit of the game. Right now my name is unknown. Everything's unknown. Okay, return to the game. Alright, let's get started. In the pre-dawn light of the January morning, fog clings to the banks of the Mississippi. The British and American armies have been camped across the river for 2 weeks, staring at each other across the line Jackson. The skirmish that will be recorded in the history books as the Battle of New Orleans is about to take place. Before the British are quite ready, however, the fog lifts. The call goes up and down the line Jackson, cries for the Americans to open fire on the advancing British regiments. Even here, on the west bank of the river, the sound of the cannonade is overwhelming. Soon, the British bagpipers recover enough to begin their music, adding the drone of their ancestral instruments to the surreality of the morning. Whether intentionally or no, the sounds across the river admirably disguise the brigade of redcoats quietly advancing on the American flank positions on this shore. From the croft, where you and your companion observe the proceedings, the redcoats seem to flit like angry ghosts between the cypress trees, obscured by the distance and the dispersing fog. The Battle of New Orleans is joined. Okay. Alright, Choice of the Vampire, the Battle of New Orleans. So that was the prologue, I guess. And here we go. The wall of the croft from which the two of you have been observing the nearby skirmish explodes inward, showering the room with plaster and timbers. Glass from the shattered window panes cutting your face. The stonework chimney teeters precariously, showering sparks on the palmetto fronds that were once on the roof. That were once the roof, but which are now mostly scattered across the floor. Your companion is a vampire, a blood-drinking creature of the night, several centuries old, who has recently taken you as a companion. The collapsing house pins one of you under the wreckage. The fronds are already starting to smolder from the errant sparks. Consider carefully which of you is the one that is pinned. He's the one that's pinned. I'm the one that's pinned. I'm gonna be the one that's pinned. Let's go. You were only unconscious for a moment. Something cold is on your lips, sliding past them and into your gullet. Your eyes flitter open. The wreckage that was pinning you has already been removed, and your companion stands over you, his wrist at your mouth. You're sucking from it a piglet at a sow's teat. The taste of the blood is both revolting and intoxicating. As much as you want to push the wrist away, once you taste the blood, there's nothing you can do, or that would not do, to drink of it. There is nothing that you would not do to drink of it. Parfait. After a few more moments, he puts his free hand on your shoulder. Enough. It takes some coaxing, but even the flashing of some fang, but you finally relent. He throws open the door to a demi-cellar, of which you were previously unaware, and the two of you descend into the safety of the moist darkness to await until nightfall. In the darkness, you reflect on what brought you here, hiding in the earth, while the armies of the American Republic and the British Empire clash above. When you first glimpsed him, you felt a certain thrill. Taking in the sight of him, you knew that your life would never be commonplace again. Extending his hand, he introduced himself as, so it could be Padre Carlos, my child. When was the last time you confessed your sins? Uh, it could be French. At your service, you was dressed in finery, your courier smile, disarming deception. Peter van der Aal. I don't know. Portly gentleman. Wallace Winters. Oh, a shifty fellow, you surmised that he had already identified all the escape routes from your meeting place. West. Jesus. A being who seemed no more animal than man. He moves like a cougar through the space of husbanding his power. What sounds interesting? Let's do this guy, Guillaume. Guillaume was a person of stature, a French nobleman who relocated to the Americas some time ago. Brought up in a world with few consequences, he demonstrated little use for rules and laws. You remember his gaze bypassing your skin and your sex and as being irrelevant, eating its way through your soul. You know that in the world, these things are not relevant, and yet he judged you on some criteria which you can neither perceive nor understand. And when he was done, he spat you out again, altogether lessened by the experience. Realizing that you had yet to respond, you, I guess, bowed? Curtsied? Okay, so this is where we decide our gender, I'm assuming. But these games usually are pretty flexible on gender, so maybe not. We'll do a nice little bow. Monsieur de Saint-Chapelle had recently arrived in New Orleans, seeking something, but he found me instead, and soon is lost. Insatiable. Task for which he needed my unique talents. Let's use the unique talents. That seems pretty cool. He recruited you for your ability to move through the city of New Orleans unimpeded. You found yourself running here and there, accomplishing things on his behalf, always one task away from being discharged from his service. And these he did. Your occupation instilled certain skills that he found of use. Perfect. I could be an interpreter. Irish I'm a free person of color. Remember the Creole culture unique to the Orleans. I was born in a family of French landowners. Used them for decades. Trained the ways of war, invoking the blood of my German. No priest, no war. I always tend to stay away from these two kind of subjects. Raised in the social world of the South, destined to live in a leisurely practice of the law. Nah. A Spanish colonist from the Canary Islands. Ooh, I was blessed with the leisure to develop a craft to noteworthy levels, and my patron hired me to produce works for him, so I could be like an artist. Entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go with this. Spanish colonist from the Canary Islands. Your family came from the Canary Islands and were settled in the swamps around New Orleans. As a child, you remember the town elders living in constant fear of British invasion. That is why Governor Galvez settled Los Islenos here to stand in the way of redcoat advance. It was there, in New Iberia, that Saint-Chapelle found you. First, he asked for your name. How did you introduce yourself? Oh, I could pick a name. What's a cool name? I don't like any of these. This is gonna be my name. Sergio. Surname Gonzalez. Tilano Rodriguez. Let's go with Gonzalez. Heck yeah. Of course, you were young and innocent once. Or maybe not so innocent. Oh, Sergio, did you take your cousin's doll? Oh, it was your grandmother. Okay. Sergio, did you take your cousin's doll? It's your grandmother speaking. Her hands are covered with flour. She's been baking again. She was always baking. Your cousin loved that doll. She had it with her always. But not now. It's missing. What was it you said to her? No, I didn't take it. But you had taken it. Your cousin was a brat who never let you alone. No, I didn't take it because you hadn't taken it. No, I didn't take it, but I'll help you look for it. If you hadn't taken it, your ideas were because I might have misplaced it. Yes, I took it. I'll go get it for you now. Yes, I took it, and I threw it in the river. Holy shit. Let's go look for it. Your recovery of the doll is greeted with joy. You always were your grandmother's favorite for a reason. As you grew older, rather than indulging in pointless rebellion like so many other of your peers, you spent your free time improving yourself. When Monsieur de Saint-Chapelle asked you how you had done so, you told him how we could work resolutely to learn the tongue of this nascent nation. Oh, that'd be cool. Spent days in the nice ones in my artistic. Oh, this is cool. Accounting figures. No, it doesn't really match with my whole artistic thing, right? Oh, I can't even pick these because of my, I guess, my previous choices. That's interesting. I made friends with women of the night and the gamblers and drunks who kept them company. The urchins and pickpockets became my second family. Let's do that. Let's be like a real street smart scumbag. Yeah, why not? They welcomed you with open arms, grateful to have this kindred spirit in their midst. And in exchange, they taught you their ways, to know their customs and their secrets. Of course, you can't think about your youth without touching on your father. With the Louisiana Purchase, everything changed for your family. The Americans brought new laws, new businesses, and new customs to the people of the Mississippi. One night, listening to your father railing against the changes around him, you kept silent. It was not my place to question my father. Kept silent, but afterwards I did my best to learn about these Americans, challenged my father to consider how to make the most of the changes that were happening around him, urged my father to consult local priests for guidance. Let's challenge him. Though you went to bed that night with a bum red and burning from the switch, your father apparently listened to you, and the family was better off for it. What you didn't tell Monsieur de Saint-Chapelle was how you were once considered exceptional among your peers. You were considered such because your immense strength was the talk of the town, grace and agility with stunning onlookers in silence. Ooh. The mind, persuasion, stubborn. Let's do persuasion. So I could persuade anyone to take my side in arguments. Not that you had to mention it. It was what drew him to you in the first place. Later, older, dutiful son and grandson, despite the urgings of puberty, you were called to your grandmother's bedside. Her bones were brittle and her breathing shallow. With what she had of her remaining strength, she caressed your face, entreating you to tell her what comes next. We could kiss her eyelids goodbye, and then leave. I can't watch my I tell her about paradise that awaits. And she only need close her eyes and let go. She smiles. One final beatific smile. We'll go with file. And then her chest lowers one last time. There is nothing you will ever remember as clearly as that sound of her soul leaving the cares of this world behind. Also, due to the violent nature of life, on the intersection of rival civilizations, you learned to defend yourself early and efficiently. The smell of blood and dirt floods your senses, sparking your memory. Those days are gone. The world was changing, and you with it. The sound of bells tolling fills your ears. No, that's cannon fire, but it sounds like bells. Like the bells of the St. Louis Cathedral. Bells tolling for Sunday services. Oh, Sundays. Your patron remembered to say the Lord's Prayer, tried to curse us on other days, actively sought to demonstrate his distaste for the church and all its trappings, celebrated himself as a god. Let's do the distaste for church. You, on the other hand, were deeply offended by his hostility to God and the church, urged him to reconsider, were mildly disturbed, or concurred with his rejection of the superstition. Let's concur. Guillaume de Saint-Chapelle was grateful that you were so compatible with regard to fervor. All these experiences had made you what you are, shaped you and guided you, and brought you here, hiding from the sun while the battle rages on the fields nearby. Yes, you have much to ponder before the sun sets. Your thoughts return to the present, and you consider this creature beside you, resting in something akin to sleep. As the hours pass, you find yourself unable to do much more than squirm in misery as your heartbeat stills. Your respiration becomes unnecessary and your bowels begin to shrivel. Thankfully, the clash above neatly conceals any screams you may or may not have unleashed. Alright, this is me transforming into a vampire. You wake, ravenous. It takes all the strength that your patron possesses to fend you off. The two of you emerge from the demi-cellar and into the ruins of the burnt-out croft. The world is full of new sensations. From what you can tell, the battle here did not go well for the Americans, as most of the bodies you see are theirs. Otherwise, the West Bank seems almost empty of people. Your maker smiles. Can you smell that, there, Sergio? It smells like someone has survived the battle. Soon, you too can smell the blood on the breeze. A fresh wound oozes nearby. The churn of sweat and iron distinguishes it from the waterfall of blood now soaked into the soil of the day's battlefield. With a curt nod, your patron releases you into the direction of your first kill. Tonight, you will feast. Your senses reach out in the direction of the young deserter. He knows that he's being pursued, but he does not realize that it's not a court-martial that comes for him. He begins to move faster. At first, you struggle to breathe as you try to keep pace until it sinks in that you no longer need to have breath. Focusing on the pursuit, you begin to let go of that vestige of humanity. You can feel his fear mounting. His breathing becomes ragged. He turns and catches sight of you over his shoulder, and that is the last mistake he'll ever make. He stumbles and falls to the ground. You pounce. He begins to scream, screams that become a screech, and when he sees your fangs extend, it is painful. It is. Feeling them burst from your gums for the first time, but that pain is only momentary. Soon, his sweet, hot blood is pouring down your throat. You drink, and you drink, and drink, and you drink some more. The soldier stops screaming, resisting, and soon you can feel his heart beginning to fade away. Enough, says your patron, appearing behind you. He pulls at your clothes. Enough, he says, forcefully. Losing patience, he tears you away from your prey. You clean your face, looking at the soldier's countenance, frozen in horror. You thought he'd escape his worst nightmare, another soldier's corpse rolled into a mass grave. That was before you came out in the night, eyes and teeth flashing with hunger. All that's brought you here, momentarily satiated. Momentarily satiated. I don't know. Your maker takes a moment to address his new progeny. Tonight, you are flush with my blood, but by tomorrow the power that courses through your veins will fade. You will not be stronger or faster than you were when you weren't alive. Not for many years, anyway. I'm just gonna quit the accent for a second. In the meantime, you will have to be clever, or else you will find yourself relying on the beast that prowls within you. It is a vicious creature. You can call upon it when you're overwhelmed, but it is a devil's bargain. you will always come out of you will always come out of the worse for the exchange. What you have to do is time. Oh, what you do have is time. You will not grow old. You will not die. In time, you will see that everything comes in cycles. Learn patience and foresight, and you will discover how to bend mortals to your will. Heed my words, and you will survive to experience all that this unlife has to offer. With that, he leads you into a future ripe with possibilities. Alright, we're going to end it here for now. This was part 1 of Choice of the Vampire by Jason Stephen Hill. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And I'll catch you next time. Stay tuned. Subscribe for more. Don't miss out on future episodes. Talk to you soon.